Hey nerds, welcome to the Fat Middle. Your host, SnitBag. Now, you may be asking, what is the Fat Middle? And what it is for reviews. So, what is Warhammer, and why should you play it? Great questions. First, let's get into who I am and why I play Warhammer. So, my name is SnitBag, aka Jackhammer. I've been into the hobby for about 20 years or so. The first time I remember walking into my local hobby shop in a little place called Helena, Montana. Tiny little place, way up in the middle of nowhere. And I walked in and I saw this giant poster with this huge dude in all this metal armor and this huge gun and this giant fist, and it was all red and yellow, and he was standing on this like statue's head, and he was blasting into the sky, and he had this cyborg eye, and I was like, what could this possibly be? And then I turned to the side, and there's this other poster with these giant rats fighting what I knew was dwarves, because, you know, my parents read me Tolkien, but I didn't know what these crazy rat people were, and there was a huge one, and they were cartoony, but crazy, and they had crazy technology, and I was immediately in love. I was like, I need to know what this is. So that was my first kind of visual of Warhammer, right? These two crazy worlds, I didn't know if they were tied or they were related. I later found out one was 40K, one was fantasy. Now it's 40K and AOS. So differences, right? And within those are multiple universes within themselves. But why play Warhammer, right? I was already into modeling. That's why I went into this hobby shop. Look at planes, trains, all those things like that. And I saw these posters, right? And I loved Tolkien as a kid, but I loved magic and I loved sci-fi. I was a Star Wars nerd. I was Blade Runner nerd, Aliens, Predator. I mean, whatever. You know all the sci-fi stuff and fantasy stuff. And I wanted in. And I was also an artsy crafty kind of dude. I was also playing StarCraft. I was also playing, Lords of the Realm and all those video games. If you know LAN party, LAN parties for lots of games at that time, right? So that's kind of how I entered into the universe. But what caught me? What captured me? Why does someone choose that over video game, right? Isn't it so much harder and more expensive to get into this thing called Warhammer, where I have to assemble this plastic and put it together and paint it and then read all these rules and put them on the table and like find some other nerd to play with? It seems like a big hassle when I can just log on bleep, 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 and immediately I'm playing StarCraft, right? And face value, it seems pretty much the same, right? What is the basis of the game? Resource management. I get so much of something to pay for something, so I have something to beat your something. It's like chess, but better. So, why I would say anything in the Warhammer universe is you get to be involved in a lot of different levels, right? It's not single stream. It's not one activity. And you will absolutely find some activities you like more than others. You may like the painting aspect more than you like gaming. You may like list building more than you like assembling. You may find you only want to go to tournaments and be the most hardcore competitive player, and you're, doing min-max on every single thing. You may be like, I want to make an army of this specific thing, and you are going to convert and change and model all your own things and find the right type of army list to be able to put this thing on the table and make it do a thing. Maybe win, definitely have fun. So that's why Warhammer, right? But why should you play Warhammer now? It's like, man, I'm in a pandemic. I can't even play with people. I'm getting towards the end of that, right? Let's not even talk about that scenario. Now is the time to be able to get in and start an army so that by the time you're able to go find other nerds, you can absolutely do it. So back to what? What is Warhammer? Warhammer is a tabletop strategy battle game, right? You are enacting these micro battles using rules and dice to determine who wins. And there's scenarios and all of that kind of stuff. But it's also a great avatar for yourself out onto something. You are able to project your will, your presence out there. And you're right. Video games like StarCraft, Warcraft, Command and Conquer are very similar in that you have troops that do certain things and have abilities and buffs, and it also has a little bit of Dota where you have these characters that synergize and create buffs as well, and you're trying to keep your creep doing the thing. But there's something about a 3D object that we're losing today in this super virtual world, right? Everything is in here, but now when it's right in your hand, when it's right here, and I can hold the thing, and I have these ones that still need to be painted, and I can hold the thing and move it the way I want, and paint it the way I want, and have it the way I want to represent me out there. Painting. Super hard. I'm not going to lie. It's tough, but equally rewarding. When you take the time to take something from this, just something gray, to something that is done and cool and painted, even if it's not the best painting ever, it's yours. You did that, and you took the time to learn a thing and develop a thing and interact with something in a real sense. And it's very therapeutic being able to take that time and sit and be quiet in that moment to create something, and be that painted exactly like it is on the box or whatever's in your mind. You get to decide. Painting is amazing. Miniatures, right? What makes the minis cool? I would argue that GW across its line has the best miniatures collectively out on the market. The Warhammer universe is freaking gorgeous. And whether you like sci-fi crazy space aliens, or you like mega superhumans and super armor from the future as well, or you like guys in golden armor from the past who just can't die, along with crazy ghosts and lizards and all this other stuff, all those things, you can choose all of those different things and also mash them in a million different ways into whatever you want. So it's super, super, super vast as to how you can interact with this universe, right? Gameplay, right? At the end of the day, that's what this is, a game. Absolutely, there are people who just enjoy putting miniatures together and painting them and like having that as a thing. But at the end of the day, it's also a game. So even if that's what you like, you can always bring those miniatures that you painted and assemble them into some type of something to then push across the table and say, I'm attack you. It's what it's about. It's a Warhammer game. Because at the end of the day, it's a game. They also have board games. They have smaller versions of it. You have Kill Team, you have Warcry, and we'll get into all of this in the fat middle. They have massive scales, Armageddon, where if you're like, I want one army and I want it to be the biggest army in the world. Well, you can do that. You can get the biggest army in the motherfucking world. Or you can sprinkle around, find what you like. I play all of the gaming systems, every single one of them. I play, like I said, Warcry. I play Kill Team. I play AOS. I play 40K. I play Beastgrave. I don't think there's a thing that they have out there except for Aeronautic. I haven't gotten into it yet, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to. Blood Bowl. Love that. You want to play sports? They have sports with fantasy sports. Real fantasy sports. You can have an ogre team. What? At the end of the day, it's a game. So you read the books, you find the strategies, you get the right synergies with all the rules, and you have this whole master plan, and you get it synergized on the table, and you pop it off, and you crush your opponent. Woo! It's in real time. The person's right there. You want to troll him? Be like, yo, Dave, I win. Whee! Samantha, say something. Jamie, I got you a number. I got you good. It's right. They're right there. They're right in front of you. And then you can go out and have a pint afterwards. Talk about the game. Actually, it's not an AI. It's not a computer. It's not somebody a million miles away that it's hard to like take the time to download the scenario as to what happened, right? Like it's in person with a person. That's pretty sick. And when you go to tournaments, it's that same thing. You will meet people at these tournaments, right, that you would have never met otherwise, and lifelong friends. You'll talk on Discord all the way across the country and wait for these tournaments to come up. That's a whole community in itself that you get to meet up. It's not like you play with all these people online and then you go hang out at a thing and maybe sit next to each other on a computer and play. Like, you do the thing IRL. A game that's like chess times a gazillion. And it's always evolving and always changing. And the community of people is amazing. If you dip your toe in, you will find that community massive. If I haven't sold you on playing Warhammer by now, I don't think anyone can. It is an amazing universe. And that, we haven't even touched on the lore. And that is one of the things that puts this entire world together. It is what world builds, right? Is everything has years, real human years, decades, real human decades of development behind it as to who, what, why are these guys? How did these super beings come to be? Who made them? Who betrayed them? Why did they get all mad? Why did these ones go over here and worship crazy gods and get superpowers? Why did these guys not? What are these crazy space elves doing? What about these green guys from space? Wait, we have green guys over here in the fantasy world called AOS. Those green guys also hang out with these giant ogres who eat everything. These guys are dwarves. They're like fire naked babies and they'll blow you up. Like, what? What's this? What's this? Like, it will explain who did what, where, when, and how, and you can find your place in those realms. Be it the mortal realm in AOS, or somewhere in space you can find yourself. And you can play it on any scale, and you can get involved in any scale, and there are so many books to read, there are so many fan-created everything's out there. It is the most beautiful community, and I invite you to come join us in this community. You will love it, and we will love you back. All right. Can't wait to see you on the stream. It's SnitBag signing out.